Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone. Right. Um, so we are going to continue today with the next part of learning how to write the report for question 1 of the MUET exam paper. Okay. So in our previous lesson, we have already covered on the different types of graphs and how they function. We also looked at uh, what are the things that you need to consider when you look at these graphs, and then we also have learned about some words and phrases that you can use to describe the movements and trends that you see happening in the graph. Okay, so now for today's lesson, we're going to continue with how you are supposed to write your report. Okay, right. So so graphic interpretation, MUET writing question 1. Right. Now, what are the requirements for this particular question? Okay. All right. The question is the question consists of the prompt. Okay, the prompt, which is the actual question, and it is accompanied by one or two visuals. Okay, I have said this before in our previous class. The visuals can come in the form of a graph, a chart, or a table, or any of those two that I have just mentioned just now. Okay, and the total mark for this question is 40. And you are advised to spend about 40 minutes to complete this question. Now, let me remind you that the MUET writing paper will be 1.5 hours long, which is 90 minutes. And you are advised to spend 40 minutes on question 1 and the rest 50 minutes on question 2. Okay, you can. This is all up to you. If you want to spend more time on the essay, then you have to spend less time on the report writing question. Yeah, but it is basically up to you. But you are advised to spend 40 minutes. Okay, and then from the information given, you are required to write a report in 150 to 200 words. Okay, and also, if possible, try to limit the report and write in only 2 paragraphs. Okay, so the 200 words limit should be within 2 paragraphs. Yeah, I will talk to you about what you will see in these 2 paragraphs later. Okay. All right, now as a MUET writing evaluator, these are the things that I will be looking at. Okay, the technical part is where I will look for the content. Okay, the content requires you to give me one one introductory sentence, and then also a clear and accurate overview of trends and patterns that you see happening in the graphs. Okay, and another thing that I will look at is whether or not can you present and highlight the key features successfully, and most importantly is whether did you analyze and synthesize information effectively. Now, in order for you to be able to score more marks in this question, you are advised to give more synthesis than analysis. Okay, because synthesis is a show of your critical analytical thinking skills. Okay, writing analysis is very straightforward, but in order to synthesize, you have to think critically, and the more critically you think, the more marks you'll get. Okay, and when we look at the language aspect of the writing, we look at, of course, accuracy, clarity of meaning, whether or not did you use appropriate and varied vocabulary, using a wide variety of sentence structures, and also link ideas effectively using linking words. All right, and there must be a show of whether did you plan your writing or not. All right, now if you want to score high on the language aspect, try to use vocabulary of words which are of a higher level, which are not simplified words, okay? Words that are more bombastic if you can. Okay, now we go to the writing of the report. Okay, now when you write the report, you have to start off with writing the title. All reports must have a title. Okay, um, you need to follow the guidelines given below, but as usual, when you write the title of any report or any essay, make sure that the title is centralized and the initial letter of the first word is capitalized. Okay, alright, so how do you write the title? Simple enough. First, read the question carefully and highlight the keywords. Okay, highlight the keywords and then study the title of visual 1 and then study the title of visual 2. Okay, and again highlight the keywords for each of these titles. Okay, now once you have identified the keywords for both visuals and the question, what you do next is you link the visuals in the title by combining the keywords of all visuals. Okay, so again, like I said, identify the keywords in the question and in both titles of both visuals. Alright, and link the visuals in the title by using a conjunction. Alright, and normally the conjunction that we use is and. Alright, now, so that's the title. Now let's look at the structure of the report. Okay, now the report, like I said just now, it is advised for you to write only 2 paragraphs. Okay, only 2 paragraphs because we don't want it to look like an essay. It should be short and sweet. All right. Now the paragraphs, there's, like I said, there are 2 paragraphs. So in paragraph 1, you have the introduction and the overall trend or overview. So there are 2 sentences altogether in paragraph 1. And in paragraph 2, there should be your analysis and your synthesis. Okay, your analysis and your synthesis. And I'm sorry, but I forgot to put in one more thing there, which is your concluding sentence. So there are 2 things in paragraph 1, the introductory sentence and the overall trend. And in paragraph 2, analysis, synthesis, and concluding sentence. Right. Now, the introduction. The introductory sentence is basically one sentence that states the main idea contained in each of the visuals. Okay? Right. Let's have a look at an example later on. Okay? Now, what we do first is we study the title of the graph and the table if the question gives you both things, and then using the keywords in the titles of the visuals, you combine them together into one sentence plus the time frame given in the visuals, if any is given. Okay, if any is given. There are questions where no time frame was mentioned, so you can skip this part. Okay, and then combine the keywords of both visuals and the time frame into one sentence. Okay, let's have a look at these 2 visuals here. Now these 2 visuals here actually comes directly from your textbook. Okay, so if you have a look at your textbook, you can see this. Okay, let me just check, where did I get this from? I got this question from page 212 of your ACE Ahead MUET textbook. Okay, so if you want to have a look, you can go and look at that page here, page 212. Okay, so the first visual given is actually a bar graph. Okay, so this bar graph, the title of this bar graph is Figure 1, Number of Teen and Adult Travelers. And the next visual, you are given a table. So table 1 has the title Reasons for Traveling in 2014. Okay, now how are we going to write the introduction for this report? So basically what you do is you combine you combine these words here with these words here using a conjunction. So what you are doing is you are creating a simple sentence. Okay? So a possible introduction would sound something like this. Figure 1 presents the number of teens and adults who traveled from 2011 to 2014. While, okay, I'm using while here, not and, which is also acceptable. While table 1 shows their reasons for traveling in 2014. So if you see here, these words come from the title of the bar graph, and this words here comes from the title of the table. And notice that I've also given the time frame for both visuals. Okay? Now try not avoid from combining the time frames of both visuals, because visual 1, okay, the bar graph mentions it is from 2011 to 2014, and table 1 only mentions 2014. So those are basically different time frames. So avoid from combining them and put them separately in the introduction. Okay, now we move on to writing the overview. Okay, so now the overview is basically a summary of what you see happening in both visuals. Okay, so what you do is you study the graph and table, and you look at the key features in the graph and match them against the key features in the table. So there are going to be words which are contained in both visuals. All right, and then you look at how the data for these key features correlate with each other. Okay, now in order to do this, go to your textbook and use the words that you see on page 206 to 207 to describe this overview. Okay, right. So from the given visuals here, the overall trend or the overview which we can draw from both of these visuals are: generally, adults traveled more than teens, but teens had more reasons for traveling. Now let's see, is it true? Adults traveled more than teens, is that right? So as we can see, for 4 consecutive years, it is true that adults travel more than teens, okay? Because every year the number is higher than teens. Okay, so that is what you see in visual 1. If you look at visual 2, you can see that teens have more reasons to travel, 4 reasons to travel, while adults have only 2 reasons to travel. So what you see here is true. Okay, so what you do is you look at where both visuals meet in the middle. Okay, this is the possible overview. Now, writing the body requires you to give the analysis and the synthesis. If you're not sure what the analysis means, what you can understand very quickly is that when you write the analysis, you are analyzing data within a visual. Okay, while synthesis is you are analyzing data between the 2 visuals given. But what about questions where you are only given one visual? Okay, now when you analyze one visual given, normally when you analyze, you look at only one key feature with one time frame. But if you were to synthesize, you look at 2 key features and 2 time frames. I will show you how you can do this later on in this slide. Okay, alright, and lastly we have the conclusion. So the conclusion is basically just like writing the conclusion of any essay. You simply rephrase, okay, the overview, or you can write a short summary of your analysis, or maybe a short statement on the most significant trend you see happening in the graph. Okay, and you can do so by starting the sentence with "in conclusion," or it can be seen that, or it can be concluded that. Alright, okay, now let's have a look at how do we write the analysis and the synthesis. Okay, now again, let me repeat. When you write your report, the body paragraph, which is the second paragraph, it must contain the analysis and the synthesis of the data given in the visuals. Alright, now when you write these two things, when you write your analysis and your synthesis, there are 5 elements that you need to consider. And if you look here, I have color-coded all the elements that you need to consider so that you can see how they are arranged in your analysis and your synthesis. Okay, the 5 elements are key features, time frame, data, comparison, and the movements in the graph or the trend that you see. Okay, so let's see how you do this. Okay, now how do we analyze and synthesize data? Let's have a look. When you look at key features, what do you look for? You look for titles, or you look for the names of the categories. Okay, so those are the key features. And if you look at the time frame, look for words or any references towards time, months, and years. Okay? Excuse me. Okay, what about the data? The data would be any numbers or figures or percentages that you see in the table or the charts given. Okay, and comparisons are where you try to spot the similarities or differences between the key features. Okay, and the movement is how the data changes within the visual, and this is what we call the trend. Now, let's have a look. Okay, let's have a look at this table here. Now remember that what I said before, where sometimes MUET questions, okay, for question 1, sometimes they would give you just one visual, sometimes they would give you 2 visuals. Okay, now it is possible for you to analyze and synthesize using only one visual. Okay, using only one visual, it is possible for you to synthesize the data. Okay, so I will show you how to do it after this. Now, let's look at this visual here. So in this visual, you are given 1, 2, 3, 4 categories. These 4 categories are what you call the key features. Okay, these are the key features, and the years 2005, 2006, 2007, these are the time frames, and the numbers you see here, they are all the data that you need to manipulate and write about in your report. Okay, we're going to start with analyzing. Okay, and to analyze, follow the formula given below. And if you see here, again, I have color-coded them using colors that I have mentioned before. So you get the key features in yellow, the data in blue, the trend in red, if there are any comparisons in purple, and the time frame is in green. And then you will get your analysis. Okay? Now let's have a look here. Okay. Now in this example, we are only looking at one key feature. Okay, we are only looking at one key feature here, which is professionals. Okay, and we're going to look at the data for that key feature across the time frame given, which is 2005, 2006 until 2007. Okay, and when you combine the key feature together with the data and the time frame within one sentence, you will get this here. In 2005, professionals were involved in 3,600 accidents. The number of accidents increased to 5,000 in 2006 and reached the highest number in 2007 at 7,000 accidents. Okay, so if you look in this analysis, in this example, you can see that out of 5 colors, I have used 4. The time frame in green, the key feature in yellow, the data in blue, and the trend in red. Okay, so here is an example of an analysis within one key feature across a given time frame. Okay, so this is an example of an analysis. Okay, another example is where you look at 2 key features but only at one time frame, at 1 year. Okay, and you compare the data between the 2 key features within that one particular year. Alright, so in this example, in 2005, professionals were involved in fewer accidents, 3,600, than non-professionals, 5,500. So the data is given in parentheses. Okay, and what is the advantage of using parentheses? When you use these parentheses, the advantage is you will use less words. So you are going to cut down on the number of words that you use in your report. So I would suggest that you use parentheses in your report writing. Okay? And the next is to synthesize. Okay? How do you synthesize? Now, the difference between analyzing and synthesizing is when you synthesize, you look at 2 key features with 2 time frames and 2 to 4 sets of data. Okay, so just now with analyzing, we look at 1 key feature across 3 different years, or you compare 2 key features within 1 year. Okay, to synthesize, you have to use 2 key features and compare it with 2 different time frames and use 2 to 4 sets of data. Okay, now let's have a look how you do this. Let's synthesize the data in this table. I'm using the same table that I gave you before, okay? But we are only going to look at two key features, which is fresh graduates and business owners. And we're going to look at it within the years 2005 until 2007. So you actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 data that we're going to look at. Okay, so how are we going to do this and put them into one sentence? Is it one sentence or it can be more? Alright? Now let's have a look. Okay, if you look here, compare 2005, which is the first time frame, with 2006, which is the second time frame, for the fresh graduates, which is key feature number 3. And then you link them with the next set of analysis. Compare 2005 time frame number 1 with 2006 time frame number 2 for business owners, which is key feature number 4. Okay, so we connect them together using a linking word or a logical connector, and this is what you get. Fresh graduates were involved in 15,000 accidents in 2005, and this increased to 16,000 in 2006. Similarly, so if you look at the word similarly, now this word is actually a comparison. Okay, so we use this logical connector as a comparison. Similarly, accidents involving business owners also showed an increase from 800 in 2005 to 900 accidents in 2006. So if you want to write a synthesis, okay, once you look at it, you can see that it is basically a combination of two analyses. Alright, the first sentence is one analysis, the second sentence is another analysis. Okay? Alright, now can we combine these two sentences together into one? Yes, you can. Alright, and it will be much clearer doing that. Let's look at another example. Okay, Now this example is where I use the first table, the same table before, but in this question you are given another table to compare between these two. Alright, but they are connected to each other. So remember the first table just now? It has the category of drivers and the number of accidents happening within 3 years. The next table is still talking about the same category of drivers, but we are looking at another key feature, which is reasons for the accidents. Okay? Right. Now, if we were to write a synthesis that compares between these two tables, this is what you might get. Okay? In 2007, fresh graduates were recorded as having been involved in the highest number of road accidents, in parentheses 14,000, due to drink driving, poor road conditions, fatigue, and fatigued vehicles. Okay? Business owners, in contrast, had the lowest number of road accidents, 650. These were only caused by fatigue. Okay? Now, can you see the comparisons? Okay? This is for fresh graduates. Okay? And you combined it with the data together with the next key features from the second table. And this is what happens in with the business owner's key feature together with the data and also the relationship with the second table. Okay? Right. So this is how you analyze and how you synthesize your data. All right. So basically that is how you would normally write your report. So after this, let's continue writing the report using the information that I have given you just now. Alright? So, happy writing!